tax increase if you do mandate an amendment. You are increasing taxes on residents of Atherton. I request that you follow the process for tax increases in Atherton. It seems like the least that you can do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Grossman?
City Attorney, to the chair.
Please.
Can I ask, City Attorney, may I just clarify Andrew's position on which way?
He was going.
Which way?
I will clarify my position. I believe we should follow the encroachment permit process for those cases. Is that clear enough?
Thank you,
Yes,
Andrew.
Thank you for
Okay.
requesting clarification. Thank you.
Councilman Lewis.
Okay.
I'm Linda Grossman, 80 Parker Avenue, and I am speaking on behalf of Elsa Arata, Norma Fogelberg, Marilee Gardner, myself, and Audrey Bolster. I will try to keep as briefly as I can.
So that's how many people are you speaking
That's 5, including myself. The context for the discussions around the options for Parker Avenue right-of-way. One property owner or a resident on Parker Avenue filed a formal complaint identifying virtually every property on Parker as having encroachment code violations. Parker Avenue residents recognize that once the town receives a formal complaint, it is legally obligated to investigate and to notify those property owners in violation to work with them to mitigate the violation. Because of limited resources, the town has historically conducted code enforcement on a complaint basis only, except where there are immediate safety concerns. Some Parker residents came this evening because one Parker Avenue resident who did not and does not want to be identified filed complaints against all the neighbors. The town has confirmed this is accurate. Unfortunately, this is not the first time there has been conflict initiated by this neighbor. We also understand that staff and some council members, past and present, have been beleaguered by this person. The position of the neighbors regarding abandonment of the easement. There are 12 homeowners who are opposed to the easement, to be abandoned. There are 2 homeowners who could not be reached. There are 3 homeowners who are neutral. That leaves 4 homeowners who are in favor of the abandonment. 12 homeowners opposed, 4 in favor. With 12 opposed and 4 in favor, why are we spending time on the solution to the encroachment issues at 6 residences when 2 have already complied and 3 are already in the process of doing so? This is not a good use of the town's scarce resources. The unanswered questions that have significant impact on the residents require clear answers and further discussion with our residents before a decision can be made. Exactly how will the taxes be determined and what will those taxes be? Exactly what will the cost of the survey be if the easement is abandoned? How will the survey cost be distributed? Will the city take responsibility for that cost? Services and access. What is the impact on the emergency services as it relates to the requirement to the width of the road? According to the California state regulations and the fire inspector of our district, it is required that we have a 34-foot wide road in order to parallel park cars on both sides, or 26 feet to parallel park on one side. How will we comply with the state regulations if our street is only 22 feet and cars would no longer be able to park nose in completely off the street? Since time has been ceded, I'd like to continue. How do the 4 homes, 89, 90, 97, 98, benefit from this abandonment process? We will also need further clarification about easement for power and gas lines and utility poles for each home impacted. The Planning and Building Code. If 15 feet of the right-of-way is abandoned, will we be required to park in our driveways and not allowed to park on the street? Where will guests park? Will no parking signs be required? How will the abandonment of the easement change the look of Parker? A call to action to the mayor and to the council. Given how few people are in favor of the abandonment and how many are opposed, we respectfully request, and I'm going to cede time to the trainer.
Nicely done.
We respectfully request that any further consideration of abandonment be ended. Let the current easement stand and the current zoning remain in place. It was revised in 2010 to change the front setbacks and provide an increase in floor area ratio. In the event the council elects to continue consideration of abandonment, we insist that the council respond with detailed information that can be relied upon so all the residents of Parker can assess their position in this matter. Please recognize the majority voices and positions of your constituents in determining the final outcome of this matter. And last, please resolve the encroachment violations of 2 to 3 residences by code enforcement or by an encroachment permit process, which seems to me a whole lot less trouble than all we're going through. Now, I have copies of this if you would like. I have some.
Please, thank you. Thank you very much.
Michael Bennett?
My name is Michael Bennett, and I live at 97 Parker Avenue. I just got a couple of quick points to make. First of all, let me identify myself in terms of the issue. I haven't encroached, and I haven't complained about anything that has encroached. So I'm sort of, okay, outside that conflict. The issuance of an encroachment permit, I understand, has been rarely rare, or at least traditionally not done, it says in the staff report in the town of Atherton. And I imagine that's because for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think it's fair to those of us who haven't encroached. Secondly, I don't think it's good policy going forward because I think it invites encroachment. If people can look forward to an encroachment permit, which simply retroactively, if I'm understanding the process right, which retroactively approves what they've done outside of the law to begin with. So I think it's bad policy, and I think it's unfair to those of us who haven't encroached. I'll just leave my comments there.
Thank you, Michael. I'm going to work.
Tim McKeegan on behalf of Ray Anderson.
Sorry. Tim McKeegan. Thank you.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
This one? Hello, my name is Tim McKeegan, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Green Anderson. He's had a little bit of laryngitis here. So we kind of jotted down a few things and we took a look at what's going on right now. But we understand the change is hard, sometimes uncomfortable, but necessary from time to time. In this case, Parker Avenue was earmarked back in the 40s as a thoroughfare to Polimas. So Wire Road was envisioned, and at that time 70 feet was what they were talking about, which was really a generous proportion. My understanding that obviously is not happening. But even by today's standards, that it's far greater than what exists on most all the other streets in the town. I understand by the town abandoning the 15 feet on each side of the street will bring it more in conformity with all the other streets in the town, and at the same time reduce the town's liability for any injury that may occur from trip hazards or any other unforeseen problems. I understand many would like to leave things the way they are. I propose to take a Solomon's approach to amending the resolution, whereby the town moves forward to approve the resolution with the following provision that allows those who will accept the 15 feet will be able to accept it. For those who wish not to, will not have to be forced upon them at this time, but allow them sometime in the future date to go ahead and have that 15 feet if they decide to do so. It can also be worded that if some slight encroachment, such as a fence, pillars, or pavers, are encroached upon, then the homeowner would be responsible for any injury and that may occur, yet not take the whole brunt of any property tax increase if one shall be proposed. So we were trying to take a look at trying to work it out so that the people that want it can have it, and the people that don't want to have it don't have to take it. So just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Jonathan Tang?
Jonathan Tang, 28 Parker Avenue. I'm just here tonight to express my support of the proposal to abandon the excessive right-of-way. The reason I support it is because I think it's a very balanced and reasonable approach to address a number of issues that are lurking there. I'll just list those, not necessarily in any order of importance, but conformity, the uniform application of the building code, the city's exposure to liability as a result of encroachment and exceptions that have been granted in the past, and ultimately maximizing the property owners' utility of their property. On the issue of conformity, as Tim mentioned, the right-of-way on Parker Avenue is particularly generous in comparison to other streets in the city, and I think it makes a lot of sense to kind of bring it in line with standards that are already out there and uniformly applied. On the issue of the uniform application of the building code, back in 2010, as referenced by one of the other residents, there was the overlay that changed the parameters there, and I think this particular movement is also consistent with that particular action that took place 4 years ago, in that it relieves some of the inherent tension between the square footage of the structure and the lot size ratio. It's also consistent with, I think, the aesthetics that were desired as a result of those changes, and particular limitations to the size of structures and their distance from the street. And I think overall, it doesn't necessarily change the character or the look of the street. And I think, lastly and most importantly in this area of the building code, it eliminates the need for continual subjectivity in looking at the code and whether or not these encroachments should be granted. By giving the property back to the owners, then it's clear that the owner is responsible for whatever happens on the property if there's an accident or something that happens as a result of the encroachment that's been granted.